Am I the asshole for being upset that my wife frequently mentions Trump in our family prayers, even during grace, before meals, and bedtime prayers? Sounds a bit weird, but let me explain. I, 32, am a politically neutral guy. My wife, 25, is not. She is pretty hardcore make America great again, and has been since 2016 or whenever the last election was. She is pretty vocal on Facebook about her views and sometimes says some scary things. One time she asked my coworker to his face if he was documented. We literally grew up together in the Midwest, laughing out loud. Anyway, I usually let it slide because it's not hurting me. Like I said, I'm politically neutral. Last month though, she was getting my son, 5, to bed one night, and after reading to him, she did a prayer before bed. Normal stuff like, please pray for mommy, daddy, grandpa, and Trump. When I heard her say that, I was confused why she was praying for just a guy who isn't in our family. I asked her about it really politely, and she went off on me about how he is persecuted and needs prayers to win the election and fend off the enemy and whatever. Again, I let it go because I normally wouldn't care. But now she seems like she is doing this to spite me. Even during the blessing before a meal she adds, and bless Trump amen, really fast before I can argue. Last night was the worst one though. My dad, 77, had a small stroke and went to the hospital overnight. After I told her and my son, I did a small prayer for him. Of course before I said amen, my wife added and bless Trump. Well, this time I got mad. I told her she should keep him out of our family prayers and that this is our personal connection with God she is messing with by bringing in some weird old politician. Suffice it to say, she hasn't talked to me since. Am I really in the wrong here? Maybe it's not that big of a deal, but I feel like it's gone too far. Am I the asshole? Top comments. Comment 1, damn. So you married a general asshole and now you're upset she's being an asshole. To you specifically, you're not the asshole for asking your wife to not be petty when your father is in the hospital and you're feeling scared. But also, you chose the bed you're lying in. You're just starting to realize politics impacts all eventually. Comment 2, I let it slide because it's not hurting me. I can tell you that this political disconnect would be a deal breaker for me, and she's about to create another Make America Great Again supporter right under your nose, and you're okay with that. Forget that. Comment 3, honestly, your wife openly being racist by asking a coworker if he's documented and you not putting your foot down right there does not sound like you're politically neutral. You allowed that behavior and just let it slide. That's not good, mate. You're not the asshole for being upset with your wife bringing Trump into your prayer over family, what the F. But you need to have a long talk with her about her general behavior and her comments, aside from just this latest issue. Comment 4, you're literally how the Nazis happened. It doesn't affect me, just everyone else, so I'm cool with it. Your wife is either a gullible moron who went down the wrong internet rabbit hole, or is a fascist. I know people like to throw that word around a lot, but that's because they don't know what it means. But what we're seeing in the States and in the world in general is a scary march towards authoritarianism that is anathema to the free world. I'd take my kid and run, but hey, it doesn't affect you, right? Like, she was racist to your boyhood friend's face. Update. So I mentioned in my previous post that my dad suffered from a small stroke the night before. Well, the small stroke was just the tip of the iceberg. Today, my dad suffered a major stroke in the hospital and passed away last night. My whole family is devastated, including my wife. When I said a prayer over him, she did not say anything about Trump and was very respectful. After we got home from the hospital, I messed up. We were getting ready for bed, and I thanked her. She asked for what? And I said for not bringing up Trump during the prayer for my dad. She immediately got mad at me about why I thought she was such a terrible person who would do something like that. I said she literally did it when we first found out he had a small stroke, and she said to me, that was before she knew it was that serious. I said that it was my dad, and of course it was serious to me. Then I really messed up and showed her the post I made yesterday to try to get her to understand. She read through all the comments and got even more mad at everything, of course. Long story short, she drove off to her friend's house and left me having to deal with my son and without a car. Later, she made this huge Facebook post about me and how I'm a terrible person. She said I made her drop out of college when I met her as a freshman in college and forced her to start a family with me. We met when we were 18 or older and the kid was her idea, but whatever. I assume she got this idea from some of the comments about the age difference between us. So thanks. And then, of course, she says that I'm against her beliefs and all the usual about Trump. I may update if something else happens, but whatever. Thanks to some of you for actually trying to help. I could ignore calling me a troll, but apparently I'm a bad person for being politically neutral and basically a Nazi. I am not choosing a Side on purpose to have less conflict because if you can't tell, both sides are what caused the conflict. My dad died and my wife drove off and won't talk to me, but who cares because apparently I'm a troll slash Nazi slash groomer or whatever. Relevant comments. Comment 1. I'm not going to address the political donkey or the elephant in the room. What I'm going to comment on is your wife's total lack of compassion and grace. Even if she had been justified in her anger and hurt, it was totally out of bounds to put you through that the night your father died. That is a hard issue, way beyond politics. Comment 2. Sorry about your dad. Beyond your wife's troubling views about a guy who said he wants to be a dictator. Her leaving you alone right after your father died is particularly troubling, not the asshole. Comment 3. So your dad died and the next day she treats you like shit over Trump and left you stuck with a kid and no car. You are not the asshole, but her asshole issues have more issues than a newspaper. Comment 4. My dude, both sides are not the same. Your wife is a victim of a toxic cult of personality, and you and your family are victims as well. It's not healthy to worship an individual like she does, and, inferring from your previous post, as Christians you should be very wary of such a person. Liberals, progressives, and regular old Democrats aren't even the same thing, but none of them really adhere to the same level of cult worship as Republicans do for Donald Trump. It's just not something you really see. I'm sorry that your wife has been programmed. Consider her dead. She's not the same. I lost my own father this way. Everything is political. Even as evidence crushes the conspiracies he's sold, he's still 100% indoctrinated into the cult. He's gone. Your wife is gone. Now to the next story. Story 2. My husband admitted to cheating with his best friend. I'm not mad, and I don't know why. What should I do? I, 35, have been married to my husband for a bit under 10 years now. We have no children. Yesterday night, after dinner, my husband, Jay, broke down and admitted he's been sleeping with his childhood best friend, Pete, for quite a while now. Longer than I wanna say. It was the first time I've seen him cry in more than 2 years over something serious. Jay is the kind that cries over dogs dying in shows but is stony silent at tragedy. However, I'm not mad. I'm not even sure I care. I do love my husband more than anything in the world and I don't wanna leave him. I can't move on. I can't stay like this and I don't want to, but Jay has said he won't stop seeing Pete, no matter what I choose. He's sorry for doing this to me and he has said he loves me, and I'm his wife and heart. But Pete means the same to him. Basically he can't choose. He loves us both. It falls to me to choose and I don't know what to do. Honestly the bit that hurts the most is the fact that Pete is a good friend of mine, but he couldn't face me himself and instead let Jay break down in front of me. Sorry this turned into a rant. Any advice would help if anyone's gone through something similar. TLDR husband cheated with a friend. Wants me to choose between staying with him and continuing to see as a fair partner and divorce. I can't choose without advice. I wanna stay with him. I honestly don't feel anything about this affair honestly. It's come up a bit so. My husband has been openly bisexual since before I even met him. Peter is bi or pan. He's dated guys and girls, and others, in the past. No one in the last 3 years, to my knowledge. I'm straight, edit 2 since apparently I have no self-esteem. I guess I couldn't possibly have 4 degrees, a PhD, make roughly $120,000 a year, be the main provider for the household, run my own business and go to the gym twice a week. I know I look good. I actually have a rather large ego about myself. This honestly has nothing to do with self-esteem. I don't know where it reads that I'm a poor little girl who got in over her head by a big strong man, but I can bench press Jay. And wait, I know what I'm worth and I know I want Jay so. Relevant comments. Comment 1. Leave op. I don't know if I should though. We're happy, we can still be happy. Throwing that away seems, I don't know. Comment 2. So you don't mind sharing your husband? How many nights a week will you get to be with him, or will his friend be moving in with you? Op. I don't know. He's managed to be with Pete enough in the time we currently have. I don't know how it would change if I stayed. Comment 3. What I don't understand is, why don't you want better for yourself? He told you he doesn't care if you stay or leave. But Pete, he stays. I think because he cares about his relationship with Pete. How do you stay with someone who doesn't care if you stay? He doesn't want to fight for this relationship. You yourself said you don't care that he cheated. You are financially independent. What's keeping you from just ending it and moving on? You say you love him, but if you did, wouldn't you care that he's cheated for years with a person you considered a friend? Wouldn't you care that he's chosen his relationship with Pete as the one he can't let go of? Op, must be how I wrote the post. Sorry. Jay does care, he just can't choose and doesn't want to force me to choose. He's staying at a friend's house, not Pete's. I double-checked. He's staying with a married couple of lesbian friend we have. So he's not cheating with them right now. So I have the house and quote, as long as I need to do anything. Is it bad that I don't really care that he cheated? I have some heartache of the lies and who it was with. Not that it was a man, but Pete. But the actual cheating itself doesn't bother me too much, and I honestly think I could just move on. Ignore it or somehow work with it. Update. After reading all your advice, I chose to ask for space, which he, J 36 meters freely gave. He was staying at a friend's house when I called. I couldn't face him yet, and asked. This helped to confirm what I already knew. He was indeed staying with our mutual friends, a married lesbian, both 36F couple. So no, he didn't run to Pete. 36 meters as some of you thought. I was leaning toward separation after reading your advice. Well, a few days after I requested space, I decided to ask for separation officially. To cut a long ice cream and tear-filled 3 weeks short, I caved and called him. I did not beg for him back or anything like that. I asked him out for a walk and we had a long talk. It was a fair while ago, so I can't word for word type what was said, but it boiled down to this. 1. I still love him no matter what. 2. He still loves me no matter what. 3. He loves Pete no matter what. 4. He does not value either of us above the other. When he spoke about me leaving, but him not leaving Pete, he was giving me an out more than anything else. Jay would be destroyed if I chose to leave, but he didn't want me to stay if I truly didn't want to, which is why he didn't beg for me to stay. After this talk, we stayed separate for a few more days. About 7 weeks ago, Jay moved back home and Pete came over for dinner. That talk was longer, harder and contained more personal details that I do not want to share here. But the points were as follows. Jay and Pete have not been together as long as I feared. It's about 28 months, not since they were teens. Pete truly didn't want me to get hurt and he was the one pushing Jay to be honest with me. Pete is gay, but he dated girls in the past. Neither of us are attracted to each other and we are not together. We are all going to individual and couples and group therapy. Couples are each of us as. Me and Jay need to work out our and emotions. Pete and Jay need to work out the secrecy and talk through their own relationship. And Pete and I want to work on working together. Something I should have mentioned but didn't due to the fact I knew how Reddit would react. Is I'm asexual. I am not in any way sexually attracted to my husband, or anyone for that matter. However, I choose to have sex with him as I know he enjoys it. I still have a libido. I just don't feel the need to have sex. When I have sex with Jay, rarely, once every 2-ish month, it isn't a chore but a more intimate cuddle. Jay knows this and has known this our entire marriage. In fact, he was the one who helped me figure out I was asexual. If this is hard for you to understand, remember attraction choices. Asophobes will be blocked with no reply. Honest questions can be answered. So yeah, that's my story. I can take further questions in the comments. TLDR, we separated, cried, got back together, are happy. I got a promotion and we are all in therapy, together and individually. Relevant comments. Comment 1. Sorry, I'm a bit confused. Are you guys a throuple, minus the sex? Or did you get back together with Jay and accept he has sex with Pete? Also, does that mean you now don't have to have sex with Jay out of obligation anymore because he's getting his needs met by Pete? Op. Me and Pete are not together. I don't know if I will have sex with Jay again. It's something I'm working on in therapy. Shocking real life stories happening around you.